Hey Ja, how you doing? It's Coach here. Just want to let you know, you've been traded.
Well, it finally happened. Ja Morant has officially been traded from the Memphis Grizzlies to the Portland Trail Blazers, bringing an end to one of the most exciting, controversial, and ultimately disappointing eras in franchise history. Just a few years ago, the thought of Memphis willingly giving up on Ja Morant would have sounded ridiculous. This was the same player many believed was destined to become one of the faces of the NBA. A human highlight reel that could jump out the gym, attack the rim fearlessly, deliver in the clutch, and had the charisma to make an entire city believe they had finally found their superstar. He wasn't just the leader of the Grizzlies, he was the Grizzlies. Fast forward to today, and Memphis has traded that same player away for a package headlined by Jerami and Kriss Murray. On paper, it feels like a surprisingly small return for a player who once looked nearly untouchable. Even with the Grizzlies preparing for the future and the arrival of top prospect Cam Boozer, it's hard not to wonder how things unraveled this quickly, because this wasn't a player entering the twilight of his career. Ja is only 26 years old, still one of the league's most gifted athletes, and should be entering his prime. So how did a player once viewed as untouchable become expendable? How did the Grizzlies go from building their entire franchise around Ja Morant to making trading him their top priority this offseason? To understand why, we have to go back to where it all began. What happened? Let's talk about it. It's your boy JC Stunted Growth. Let's get it, man. Like, comment, and subscribe, and let me know who I should do next. Ja Morant is a point guard from Sumter, South Carolina, who, as we all know, wasn't a highly recruited blue-chip prospect. In fact, Murray State discovered him almost by accident when an assistant coach stumbled across one of his AAU games while looking for something to eat during a recruiting trip. Morant accepted the offer, and from the moment he stepped on campus, the ball was in his hands. As a freshman, he averaged over 12 points, 6 assists, and nearly 5 rebounds per game, while helping Murray State improve from a 16-17 season to 26-6 and an NCAA tournament appearance. But it was his sophomore year that truly put him on the map. Morant exploded for over 24 points, an NCAA leading 10 assists, had nearly 6 rebounds per game, while producing a collection of SportsCenter-worthy dunks that quickly made him one of the most exciting players in college basketball. By draft night, NBA teams weren't just looking at Ja as another lottery pick. They saw a franchise-changing point guard, and had it not been for the once-in-a-generation hype surrounding Zion Williamson, many believed Morant might have had a legit case to go first overall. Instead, he landed second with the Memphis Grizzlies and immediately transformed the franchise. He won Rookie of the Year, became a 2-time All-Star, earned All-NBA honors, won Most Improved Player, and helped turn Memphis into one of the NBA's most exciting young teams. For a while, it looked like the Grizzlies had finally found their superstar they could build around for the next decade, which makes what happened next all the more surprising. Reason number 1, the Grizzlies could no longer depend on him. The first reason the Grizzlies finally gave up on Ja Morant was because for one reason or another, they could no longer depend on the player they had built their entire franchise around. That's an incredibly difficult position for any organization to be in. Every championship contender needs their superstar available when the games matter most. With Ja, that eventually became the biggest uncertainty surrounding the team. Instead of asking how far Memphis could go with Morant, the conversation slowly shifted toward whether he'd be on the floor long enough to find out. It started with injuries. In January of 2024, Morant suffered a torn labrum in his right shoulder during a practice, an injury that required surgery and ended his season after just 9 games. The following season, he sprained that same shoulder again, forcing him to miss additional time. But the shoulder wasn't the only concern. Throughout his career, Ja has also dealt with multiple knee injuries, including a left knee sprain in 2021 that sidelined him for 12 consecutive games, followed by another knee injury during the 2022 playoffs that knocked him out of Memphis's second-round series against the Golden State Warriors. Add in hip injuries, recurring soreness, multiple restrictions, and rehabilitation periods, and suddenly the Grizzlies found themselves entering every season, wondering whether their franchise player would actually be healthy when they needed him most. Then came the suspensions. In March of 2023, Morant was suspended 8 games after displaying a firearm during an Instagram live video at a Denver nightclub. Just 2 months later, he repeated the same mistake while riding in a friend's vehicle, resulting in a 25-game suspension for conduct detrimental to the league. Those decisions cost him millions of dollars through the loss of award eligibility and escalators in his contract, but they also cost the Grizzlies something far more valuable: continuity. Every suspension meant another stretch of games without their leader, another adjustment to rotation, and another season forced off course. Eventually, Memphis had to ask itself a difficult question: how do you build a championship team when your franchise player is unavailable for reasons both in and out of his control? Injuries happen, suspensions can be avoided, but when both become themes that happen over and over year after year, confidence begins to erode. At some point, the issue stopped being whether Ja Morant was talented enough to lead the Grizzlies. Everyone already knew he was. The issue became whether Memphis could realistically continue building around something they could never fully depend on. Reason number 2, he became bad for business. As great as Ja Morant is on the basketball court, the second reason the Grizzlies finally gave up on him is because, quite frankly, he became bad for business. And that's sad to say because I like Ja Morant, but at the end of the day, that's exactly what professional sports is: a business. NBA franchises don't just invest hundreds of millions of dollars into a player's talent. They invest in his image, his reliability, his leadership, and his ability to represent the organization the right way. For years, Memphis defended Ja Morant because they believed his talent outweighed the distractions. Eventually, those distractions became impossible to ignore. It wasn't simply the gun incidents themselves that damaged Ja's reputation. It was what they represented. The first Instagram live video inside a Denver nightclub could have been written off as a young superstar making a terrible decision. But when another video surfaced just 2 months later, showing Morant flashing a firearm again despite already knowing the consequences, it told a completely different story. It suggested that the lesson hadn't been learned. Commissioner Adam Silver publicly expressed his disappointment. The NBA handed down a 25-game suspension, and suddenly the Grizzlies weren't answering questions about basketball anymore. Every press conference became about Ja Morant's latest controversy instead of the team's pursuit of a championship, and the headlines didn't stop there. Whether it was making finger gun celebrations after returning from suspension, social media behavior that sparked criticism, or constantly finding himself at the center of unnecessary controversy, Morant developed a reputation for bringing unwanted attention to the organization. Fair or unfair, every time his name started trending, Memphis had to wonder whether another distraction was waiting around the corner. That's an exhausting way to operate when you're trying to build a championship culture. Eventually, the Grizzlies had to ask themselves a question no franchise wants to ask about their superstar. Can we trust him to represent this organization the way a franchise player should? Because while his talent sells tickets, stability builds contenders. At some point, Memphis stopped worrying about what Ja Morant might do on the court and started worrying about what he might do off of it. Once that becomes the conversation surrounding your franchise player, moving on becomes less about basketball and more about protecting the future of your organization. Reason number 3, the Grizzlies chose a new beginning. The third and final reason I believe the Grizzlies finally gave up on Ja Morant is because at some point they simply decided it was time to close the book on his era and begin writing a new one. And honestly, this is the one that hurts me most because unlike a lot of fans, I never wanted Ja Morant to leave Memphis. I wanted to see him figure it out. I wanted to see him mature, stay with the franchise that believed in him from day one, and eventually lead them back into championship contention. There's still something special about watching a superstar spend his entire prime with one organization, and in today's NBA, that's becoming more rare by the year. To me, Memphis and Ja Morant just made sense. The city embraced his swagger, his confidence, his fearless style of play, and the edge he brought every single night. He wasn't trying to be polished or corporate, he played with emotion and Memphis loved him for it. It felt like one of those rare situations where a player's personality naturally fit the identity of the city he represented, like Kobe in LA or Steph in Golden State. That's why seeing it end like this doesn't feel satisfying. It feels unfinished. What makes it even tougher is that I really wanted to see what the next chapter would have looked like. With Cam Boozer expected to become the face of the franchise, I thought Ja finally had the opportunity to play alongside another young star who could help carry the load. Maybe that would have allowed him to play more free. Maybe having another cornerstone would have taken some of the pressure off his shoulders. We'll never know. Instead, the Grizzlies chose something much bigger than changing their roster. They chose to change their identity. The Dillon Brooks, Desmond Bane, Jaren Jackson, and now Ja Morant era is gone. This wasn't just a trade, it was Memphis deciding to completely turn the page and begin the Cam Boozer era with a clean slate. I understand why they made that decision, but as a fan, I can't pretend I like it. I still believe Ja Morant could have gotten things back on track in Memphis, and seeing him traded for what feels like pennies to a situation that doesn't appear to fit him nearly as well is a disappointing ending to a story that deserved a better one. All in all, I'm sad to see my guy Ja Morant not in the same jersey he's been in his entire career, and sad to see the Grizzlies weren't able to see the franchise change as it was supposed to under his leadership. They really had a good thing going not too long ago, and now it's all come to a final end. I still believe in Ja Morant's talent, and he's still just 26 years old. When healthy and focused, he's easily one of the best point guards in the NBA as a scorer, passer, finisher, and in clutch moments. Now that he's in Portland, hopefully it allows him the environment to completely focus on the game itself and not displaying the immaturity he did in Memphis. As for the Grizzlies, the slate has been cleaned. There's no going back now. The Cam Boozer era has officially begun. Whether the Ja Morant trade was worth it or not, this is the situation you have now, so make the best of it. In the end, all that matters is winning. If you do that, the city will embrace you regardless. Salute, much respect. Sad to see my guy Ja Morant go, but for these reasons, the Grizzlies had to finally give up on him.